Good day and a warm welcome to another video of Peters de Villiers and Associates. I'm Rian Peters, the senior partner, and we are doing a range of videos regarding the employment relationship. Now, this is the first video for 2020. I must apologize, it's been a rough start, so I haven't been doing many of the videos, and I have had requests for more videos to be made. I hope that 2021 so far has been treating you well and that you got a good rest during the festive season. So the employment relationship, we said what we're going to do is we're going to start from the beginning, and I think the first video was on recruitment. The second video we did on probation, and now we are going further into the employment relationship. I thought it would be a good subject for a video today if I spoke about the importance of a disciplinary code and a grievance procedure. I've got a few notes here that I just scribbled down. The recruitment was done. You're happy with the candidate. The probation period was now successful. You did all the counseling sessions in the probation period, the evaluations, and now you have an employee who successfully completed that probation period, and now the employment relationship starts in all earnest. Now, in order to have a solid employment relationship, one must realize that there are certain things that will always be present. Firstly, you will always have disciplinary issues. Whether these issues are simple late coming, early departures, whatever that may be or take the form of, there will always be some kind of disciplinary action. It may be something as simple as what I just mentioned, all the way through to theft. Now, we'll later on also talk about the disciplinary process, but you will always have that present in the workplace. You will also always have present in the workplace employees who are not happy with something. And that may be with another employee, it may be with a procedure or a process or a policy that you have in place. And the bottom line is you will always have an employee who will not be entirely happy with something. Therefore, if we work from that premise, it is important to be able to regulate these matters within the workplace. And in order to regulate discipline, the start is a good and a solid disciplinary code. So let's start with the disciplinary code. Hopefully, as we said, there should be a contract of employment in place that was signed prior to the employee starting. The employment contract as one element would have the probation period in it, which is now successfully completed. And hopefully the employment contract will also have a clause in it referring to a disciplinary code and referring to a grievance procedure, or maybe just referring to policies and procedures, of which the grievance procedure would be one of the elements. So if the contract mentions the disciplinary code, firstly, it's very important to have the disciplinary code in place. There are many contracts that make mention of it, and then when they go and look for the employee or the employer even, or HR goes and has a look at where this disciplinary code is, it's nowhere to be found. So it's very important to have a good and a solid disciplinary code in place, which is available to employees. I know that in certain instances it also is incorporated in the contract of employment, although I'm not really fond of having that done for reasons which I will explain at a later stage in a later video. So now you have this disciplinary code in place. The most important thing to realize about a disciplinary code is that it is not exhaustive. You would never be able to put all the offenses that could possibly happen into a disciplinary code. There would be various categories, and the disciplinary codes take various forms and formats. Some will refer to Schedule 1 offenses, which is very serious, Schedule 2, Schedule 3, Schedule 4. So it's less serious as it goes to the next schedule. Or it may be divided in other categories like work output, whatever they may be. So these take different forms and effect, but it is important to have that in place and to realize that it is not exhaustive. So whatever happens, the transgression that may happen, the warning that is issued or disciplinary hearing that is conducted, the charge will obviously then also follow from the disciplinary code. It will be taken from there. That may not specifically be incorporated in the disciplinary code, and therefore it's very important to understand how it functions and that you are working with different categories. Obviously today I'm not going to go in depth because of time constraints, but it is important to understand how that disciplinary code works, especially for the employer, and also how it's utilized to the best effect. The basic principle is always fairness. So therefore, warnings that are issued should be done in accordance with the disciplinary code in order to have consistency within the workplace. The same will also be true for a charge that will be derived from the disciplinary code for disciplinary hearing. Always try and use the correct category and make sure that you adhere to what the disciplinary code states. Then that's the one side of the coin. You have this disciplinary code. If there's a disciplinary hearing, the charge will be formulated via what is stated in the disciplinary code. And if you are issuing warnings, it will also be done in accordance with what the disciplinary code prescribes. And it will say for this offense, it'll be only a first written warning or a verbal warning. Or for the first offense, it's so serious, it's theft already, it'll be a disciplinary hearing. And there's a possibility of a summary dismissal. So very important to follow that. That's the one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is what happens if an employee has a grievance. And therefore, you should have a grievance procedure. More is not better is one of my favorite sayings. And to have a grievance procedure that is so complicated that it's not workable and practical is not worthwhile. Grievance procedure must be drafted to suit the needs of a specific clients, and it can be something very simple, stating that in the first instance of a grievance it must be lodged in writing and it will go directly to the direct supervisor if that person is not part of the problem or the grievance. Then if it's not solved within a day or whatever time period is put down in the grievance procedure, it'll go to a senior manager, and from there onwards sometimes it refers to a panel that will look at it. And if that's not if then the problem is not solved or the grievance is not solved, then external assistance would be sought. So very important to have that grievance procedure for the employees. Just like they should be aware of where the disciplinary code is and that it's available to them, they must also be aware of the grievance procedure and how that works. Very important to have those two documents in place. A last thing, again for time constraints, I don't want to make these videos too long. I want to make it interesting and something for quick reference. When there is a disciplinary procedure which is documented in a policy document, it is of utmost importance that that procedure is spelled out very clear and that it is not so complicated and sometimes corporate-like in smaller businesses that the employer themselves don't understand it or can follow it. Simplicity really is a key word, especially in many smaller businesses. I know that many companies cut and paste disciplinary codes from the internet and from the web, and also grievance procedures, and then it's not tailor-made and sometimes very complicated. And that's why at our firm, that's one of the things that we do. We supply a disciplinary code and a grievance procedure that is workable and practical for a particular client. I think in the next video, I may touch on how important it is to look at disciplinary warnings that are issued. Again, we'll touch on how that links into the disciplinary code, which I've just discussed. And then also to maybe just say a little bit more about how to utilize disciplinary warnings, when exactly to utilize them. So the next video, I'm going to touch on that. Thank you very much for listening. I see we're running at about nearly 11 minutes. I try and keep them somewhere between 7 and 10 minutes, not to make them too long. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been informative and that you can use it somewhere in your business. And thank you very much again for watching the video. And please subscribe to the channel if you find these videos interesting. I don't post one every week, but at least then you're notified when a new video is posted. Thank you again for watching, and God bless.